You gonna wear your headphones, or is yours bothering you?
No, it's not bothering me. I'm just getting everything
Andy's been
set up.
doing jujitsu.
Oh boy.
Has to get his wife to drain his ear. That's got to hurt.
Do
like
you
hell.
really?
A couple times a week. Just this one.
That's got to be miserable. You can tell I don't go to jiu-jitsu as much as him because my ears are still good.
I don't go.
It's a good time. I enjoy it.
Do you?
Yeah, but it's I never hurt so bad in my life.
Yeah.
It's miserable.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Boom! And welcome to Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by Boss Shot Shells. I'm Jeff Stanfield with the world famous Andy Shaver.
Happy to be here.
With us today, very interesting man, Mr. Wayne Poage. Wayne, you were the athletic director at Dallas Baptist, correct?
That is correct.
You know Nolan, who you hunted with. Did you know his dad was athletic director at Colorado State?
No.
Yes, he was. I'm pretty sure it's what he was. But you can talk about that tomorrow in the blind.
Okay.
But he is what he is. So you're the athletic director at Dallas Baptist. Y'all are a baseball powerhouse. Y'all go to was you at Division I the whole time y'all were there?
No.
Were you NIA back then?
We were NAI, and then I was the guy that took us into Division I.
And the big boys didn't like playing y'all, right?
They did not when we were NAI.
Why?
Well, okay, so I started at DBU in my first year was 1982. So anyway, there was no RPI or anything like that in college baseball at the time. So they just played. The schools just, any school just. So really, all there was Division I and then kind of NAI. So there was not a lot of Division II or Division III baseball. So anyway, so a lot of the schools you see now, like like Charleston,
The Chanticleers?
the
Coastal Carolina.
Coastal Carolina that won the World Series a few years ago. So we played them in the NAI World Series in 1985. So they were NAI. So everybody was either NAI or Division I. So when we would play, so when I first started, we started beating Rice and TCU. We played TCU, Rice. We played everybody, Texas, Arkansas. And so they continued to schedule us. So over time, though, as we consistently were beating people. So I remember Coach Harp, our head coach, was Jim Harp. So Coach was 1 year he had appendicitis or I think it was appendicitis. Anyway, he was in the hospital for a while. So anyway, I did the scheduling. He called me. He said, "Wayne, you figure this?" So anyway, so I called everybody. I called Mississippi State. Wichita State was a big program back then. I called everybody, and they're like, "We're not playing y'all." And he said, "I know y'all are good, but our fans don't know who you are." And so anyway, now the big schools like Texas and Texas A&M and Arkansas and Oklahoma, they always played us. And so we played pretty much 40 to 50% of our schedule against Division I, even when we were NAI. But eventually schools started leaving. NCAA Division I passed the game limitations to just 56. And then they passed the RPI, which was you got counted down if you lost to a non-Division I team. Mm-hmm. And so that's when people stopped playing us had started to stop playing us. And so that's when we made the decision to apply and go Division I.
I mean, y'all played Texas and then when they were ranked number one. Didn't y'all go beat them one time in a...
Oh, we beat them in quite a few times. So I remember the first time we beat them, Jeff, so it's 1984. So, we didn't have a lot of money at Dallas Baptist. So we go down there. They had just won the national championship with Roger Clemens and Calvin Schiraldi. And we played them. They were number one in 84. And so they won the first game of the doubleheader. And then we played the second game. And we won the second game, 7-6. And so no one knew, anything about us. And that's really the game that put us on the map, I would say. So that was 1984, and we won the second game 7-6. And so the next day I thought, this is going to be great. We're going to be in all the, the Dallas had two newspapers back then. They had the Dallas Morning News and the Dallas Times-Herald. So I thought, well, we're going to be in the news tomorrow. And boy, I pick up the paper the next day, and we're not in either paper.
No respect.
And so I called the newspapers, and I was like, how come you don't have anything about us beating Texas in the paper? He said, y'all beat Texas, Dallas Baptist. And I said, we didn't even know there's a Dallas Baptist. And so anyway, so sure enough, they called Texas. Yeah, we lost the second game. And so the next day, 2 days after the game, they put it in the newspaper. Best story that you hadn't seen. So anyway, then people start calling. I remember people started calling the school, and they were like, I never even heard of your school. Did you play their varsity or did you play their club team? It was kind of funny.
So how do you get these recruits being at Dallas Baptist? Like, what's the secret sauce there that you can beat Texas?
Well, so we started getting a lot of publicity. So that was so I remember going to KRLD radio. That was the big sports radio.
I remember it.
And so I remember I had Brad Sham.
Yep.
Craig Way.
Basically the sounds of the Rangers at the time too.
Yeah, and Craig Way, who's now the voice of University of Texas, and then a guy named Art Haynes. And so those were the three guys. They did sports. So I remember I was young. I go down, knock on their door at the studio, which I didn't know. It wasn't a big. So the only people in there is just like us talking here. It's just a studio. So I remember Craig Way answering the door and said, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm Wayne Poage. I work at Dallas Baptist, and I'm trying to see what I can do to get publicity for us." And anyway, Craig laughs about that now. I saw him recently, and anyway, he said, "Wayne, I still think about you coming and knocking on our door at that little studio in North Dallas." But to answer your question, so yeah, we started. And so people became really enamored with us beating all these big schools because, the first time we beat Texas, I mean, we drove down there in an old school bus, and we didn't, but we had a really good team. In '86, we swept Texas when they were number one in the nation. We swept both games of a doubleheader, and so we started getting kids drafted. And so in 1985, we had a pitcher named Les Lancaster, and he was our ace in '85. And in 1988, he got called up. They brought him up on the Chicago Cubs brought him up on opening day because someone got hurt, and so he ended up throwing 32 consecutive scoreless innings, and so stayed on the Cubs roster for good. But we started getting kids drafted and kids in the big leagues. So that's really how we recruited kids to come to Dallas Baptist.
One of my friends played for y'all.
Yes, sir.
Jimmy Armstrong.
Yes, sir, he did. So
and he was very good.
He was very good. So I remember when we had Jimmy, we had a really good pitching staff. We had a kid named Billy Brewer, who was a big leaguer with the Royals and the Dodgers. And then we had Jay Gravens, who was the winningest pitcher in the history of Dallas Baptist. And we had, and then we had a kid named Clint Davis who made it to AAA with St. Louis. And then we had Jimmy. And so Jimmy had been hurt, and we were playing Oral Roberts.
They used to be very good, too.
Yes, they were very good. And they were in the World Series just a couple years ago.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah. So we're playing Oral Roberts, and we threw 3 consecutive shutouts. And Jimmy threw one of those shutouts. And so then we played a 4th game, and then Clint Davis, I remember that because we gave up 1 run in 4 games, and Coach Harp chewed out Clint after giving up 1 run. He said, "I wanted that 4 shutout." But I remember, Jimmy, we were playing. I forgot who we were playing, but Jimmy had been hurt, and anyway, who we were playing? It was a 4-game series, and they said, "Oh, they don't have anybody left after, we'll win game 4." Well, we brought Jimmy back. That was his first game back. And so they come out, and he's warming up, throwing about 92, 93. And it was over pretty quick.
I remember Jimmy come back and he played. He went to the Braves. He got drafted by the Braves. went to camp with them.
Yep.
And he came back and was playing softball. I mean, this is where you go. You go from being in a parking lot with Greg Maddox and John Smoltz and Tom Glavine to playing in a softball with Jeff Stanfield. And he was talking to us, and he was talking about, he got hurt or something. I can't, like, but a year later, here he is playing softball with us. It's a fine line between getting that break and just never made it as a pro deal. But talking about being around Greg Maddox and all them, and that was, and the Braves of all teams to get drafted by, they had the greatest pitching staff maybe of all time on those years.
Yeah, they did.
But anyways, Jimmy had went there, and he was a really good guy. But Dallas Baptist was a powerhouse.
Yes. Yep.
Now, is Dallas Baptist? Do they play football now?
No.
Well, they'll never play football now.
No.
So,
Yeah.
they play basketball.
They do.
Are they any good in basketball?
Yeah, they were just in. So Dallas Baptist is Division II in everything but baseball. Division I in baseball. Which, when we applied to the NCAA, they had a exemption. You can make one sport Division I. So obviously we were Division I level at baseball, so we made it Division I. So they're in the Pac-12 in baseball, but they are in the Lone Star Conference in the rest of their sports. And they were just in the NCAA Division II Final Four for basketball, and they just won the Division II Women's Golf National Championship. I think it's their third one. That's one of my former baseball players, the head golf coach
there. So you said they're in the Pac-12 now.
Yes.
The Pac-12 is what? San Diego State and Oregon State?
It's San Diego State, Oregon State. It's a good baseball conference. They've lost a lot of their football schools, but Oregon State's a perennial, World Series team.
Yeah, they have a great baseball program.
Yes, they do. And so they have, and Fresno State, which won the World Series like 15 years ago. But Fresno State's a good program. San Diego State, it'll be it's a good move for Dallas Baptist.
So how does it work? Is there, whenever you go D1, is there more like money given to the school from the NCAA? How does that work?
Well, I mean, the conferences, the big thing for us is when we were NAIA, when we went to the NAIA World Series or any playoffs, we had to pay for it. Mm-hmm. So the NCAA pays all your expenses when you're in the playoffs. And DBU is one of, I think, 4 or 5 schools in the country that have been to 12 consecutive NCAA regionals. So there's only, I think, 5 of them.
Right.
But anyway, so everything's paid for when you go to the regional. As far as your conferences where money comes from, I think Dallas Baptist just being in the Pac-12 in one sport, but they are charged a fee to do that, but it's a lot less in the Pac-12 because they wanted them.
Right.
And I think it's a lot better exposure. Their DBU's on ESPN all the time.
Right.
And, Dan Hefner's the head coach. And I think he's been there, let's see, I think he has been there now for about 50, he's been head coach, I think, 15 years.
How do you keep him from getting poached like by Tennessee? I mean, their coach just got poached by the pro. I don't understand why the guy took the job in the majors, because I can't imagine the pay was much different than Tennessee's was.
Yeah, I don't either.
And it may have been, but I'm assuming he's making $1 million something a year.
Yeah, he was making that at Tennessee.
And living in Knoxville, Tennessee is a whole lot better than living in Los Angeles. Or was it San Francisco had hired him? Yeah. He ain't gonna be able to pay for one room flat there. But the guy took that job, and I don't understand that, because to me, it's kind of like taking a job in the NFL. If you take a job in the NFL and you don't win, like Brian Daboll got fired a minute ago, which I don't know why they fire you in the middle of the season. I think I would have given him one more year with all the injuries the Giants had. But there's not no job in college. There's a whole lot more security if you want to stay somewhere, I think.
Yes, and that's really why. So Dan has been offered. So Dan's been offered the jobs. And if he were here, he'd tell you a lot more. But I know the one he was offered originally, Wichita State. He turned that down. And then he was offered Oklahoma. He turned that down. He turned Baylor down. He turned Arizona down. He turned Texas down, and he turned Texas A&M down.
How much money is he making at Dallas Baptist?
I don't know. I don't know his exact figure, but I know he's making somewhere. My guess is he's probably making somewhere around $500,000. But I know he was offered. When A&M just lost Schlossnagle to Texas, they came after him, and I know they offered him a lot of money, and he didn't even consider it.
But I mean, they've got to be offering him $1 million plus.
Oh, it was. I know that.
What's the guy? What was?
So I think his point is, I mean, if you go to a place like A&M or Texas, you better go to the World Series probably in the next 5 years. You probably better go twice.
Yeah, Texas fired their guy after they didn't win the series.
That's right.
What's the
After
guy?
they didn't win the series?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in 2 World Series, and they didn't.
And they fired you.
Yeah.
What's the guy's name at Oklahoma? I can't. Steven.
Skip Johnson.
Skip Johnson.
Yeah.
What's Skip make at Oklahoma? He's $1 million
Oh, he's
a year.
over $1 million. Yeah. I've known Skip a long time.
I think Tadlock's over $1 million.
Yep. Skip and Tadlock have been friends since I think high school, and they've known anyway. They're big buddies, Tadlock and Skip.
But they're making he's making $1 million at Oklahoma.
They are.
But
He is.
I'm assuming at Dallas Baptist, there's not near the pressure on you there is at Oklahoma.
Well, I think Dan's point is one. He culturally he fits at. He's a very strong Christian, and he fits at DBU.
That's a good thing too.
Yeah.
What?
And then I think the other thing is his point. If I go to Texas and I get paid $1.2 million, so I get $6 million in 5 years. You get fired. He can stay at Dallas Baptist. He's only 40. I mean, he can stay there 18 more years at least. He's got a long career left.
He's got a lot of tenure there.
Yeah, so and he's Dan can stay there as long as he wants to.
And if you're making $500,000, you're still making a damn good living.
That's right.
Damn good living.
Yeah.
But making $1.5 million at Texas is really.
That's right.
But who wants to live in Austin? I'm a Texas guy, but I don't want to live in Austin.
Well, that was part of the requirement. I think Texas required that he had to live in the Austin city limits. So Dan's very big family man, and I mean he just fits. And I think you see that a lot in college now. I think there's a lot of people that there's obviously a lot of job openings in college football right now, but I think if you are at a place where you're happy and the money's good, I mean, why go somewhere and rebuild?
I used to always say that in college football, the 2 best jobs, and there's more than 2, but I'll just 2, was a job at Oklahoma State because you're living in Stillwater, Oklahoma. It's not bad. 70,000 people maybe. Not be a bad place to live. And if you win 9-10 games a year, you're gold. Well, you lose, you win 2 or 3 games in a row and they fire you like they did. But his time was up. He spent his time there. And I used to say Lubbock, Texas. Now, Andy told me a minute ago, the rumor mill is this rumor or truth about the jet?
It's supposedly, a rumor, I guess.
LSU's private jet was in Lubbock, Texas, and they flew Saban. I thought it was Joey McGuire is who I thought it was. I thought, I hate to see him leave Tech to go to LSU because that's not a...
Well, he's a Texas high school legend.
I hope he stays at Tech.
Yeah.
When they hired him, I told everybody here, I said, that's a great hire for them.
It is.
I said, it's like hiring Art Browse. 20 years ago, it's like hiring Art Browse.
He was a Texas high school legend.
Yeah, and Tech screwed up by not hiring Art Browse a long time ago. But anyways, you go to... And he said, it's Saban. They flew to there, then they flew to Tuscaloosa. I can't imagine Saban wouldn't get in the middle of this stuff again. He's got a good life. I don't think he takes that job. But Joey McGuire's going to have people come after him. Now, he's got a good deal at Tech because they got that huge money coming in on NIL. And I can't imagine him leaving.
I can't either.
I think it would be dumb to
I think,
leave.
again, culturally, he fits Texas Tech.
Yeah, it's a good place for him.
Yeah.
Is NIL ruining baseball like it has basketball and football?
Well... I mean, LSU, if you remember, they won the national championship a couple years ago.
With skiing.
Yeah, and so the year before, they were horrible. And, I mean, they just went out and bought a team.
Yeah.
Flat out bought a team. And they won the national. So if you ask, I think it's ruined because, when I was at Dallas Baptist, I mean, the thing we made a living on was getting guys like Jimmy Armstrong. You get these guys that no one else... that really they overlooked them or didn't want them, and we took them and we turned them. We would take a lot of kids. Like we had a kid named Barry Getz from Arlington Martin. He was, a first baseman at Arlington Martin, and we took him and made a pitcher out of him. He made it to AAA with the Rangers, and he was Rusty Greer's roommate. But he should have been a big leaguer, but he was really good. And that's how we made a living. You can't do that anymore because if you have a kid that's good. That you develop, I mean, someone's going to come take them.
What doesn't make sense to me is that the MLB doesn't have a salary cap system.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the Dodgers just won.
We talked about this the other day.
And
$338 million was
I mean, you look at what they spent. Like, how can a poor team compete with the Dodgers?
Tampa Bay had an $80 million payroll.
Yeah.
And like Jeff said, if Jerry Jones didn't have a salary cap, he would buy a team. He would buy he's got the money to do it.
Yeah.
He wouldn't feel bad about doing it because it would bring a Super Bowl back to Dallas. I just don't understand how Major League Baseball hadn't caught on to the fact that it's just whoever has the most money is winning.
Well, that's why the Yankees are always good. Big market teams are spending all the money.
Yeah.
Jim Curran, do you know Jim? He used to play. He pitched for the Rangers.
Oh yeah, I don't know who he is.
Jim's a good friend of mine. He told me years ago. He said, Jeff, he goes, and this was before the Rangers won the World Series, or before they were always a pretender, but always get to August, it'd get hot, they'd fall apart in Texas high school football. He said the owners of the Rangers, all they want to do is get $3 million or 3 million people to come to an attendance. He said they get 82 games, they want 3 million people. He said they hope they're relevant through August 15th or something, because he said once Texas high school football starts, people lose interest. They start watching football. It's Texas. He goes, if they make 3 million people through the doors, he said they're making money and they're happy.
Yep.
And he goes, they're never going to sign some big deal. And then they signed A-Rod a couple times. They did something, but he said that's all they do is make money, and that's what they do. And that's like the Tampa Bay, Oakland. I think Oakland's maybe had a $55 million salary cap. Ohtani or whatever his name is makes more than that by himself.
Yep.
But I just don't think baseball. I think that's what makes the NFL so good. Is the parity is there.
It is. Yes.
I mean, we've had teams like the Chiefs have been a little dynasty. The New England had a huge dynasty, but those teams built teams, but they've got to stay within that framework. And I think that's what makes football good. Is New Orleans Saints can upset the Kansas City Chiefs on a given Sunday.
That's right.
And I think that's what makes football good. Basketball. Up until recently, it's the same 3 or 4 teams every year. Before the season starts, who's going to be there. Baseball's the same way, basically.
It is.
And that's why college baseball, I think, is so good. But those players are going to start getting poached. Like you said, if you've got a stud pitcher and you're at McNeese State, he ain't going to be at McNeese State next year.
Now, I was talking to the coach at a mid-major, and I said, what's your recruiting pitch now to kids with the NIL? Because they can't pay them. And he's like, my pitch is I'll go get a Division II kid or a junior college kid. And I said, hey, come here. Have a great year, and then go cash out at a Power 5 school.
So he's just trying to get 1 year out of them.
He's just trying to get 1 year out of them.
Kind of like Bill Snyder of college football for
it is
1 year deal.
I mean, it's hard to build a program on that. So that is to your point. Yeah, it has ruined it because you used to have like the Fresno States come along, and our Coastal Carolina comes along and wins a College World Series. That used to happen. And Coastal Carolina was in it, I think, last year. I mean, it is a good program, but that's what has amazed me. I mean, DBU's been very consistent, but it's hard to get those guys to win the World Series. And I mean, you've got to have the guys like LSU had.
Who's the team last year? There was a Cinderella team in the Baseball World Series last year.
Last year it was Murray State.
Murray State. There it is. Yeah. The Racers or whatever. Come out of nowhere.
Yep.
But I mean, you don't have that very often. Like basketball, I'm not a basketball fan at all. I used to like college basketball. I used to like the NBA back when it was the Lakers and Celtics. When people played defense and there was more to it. I don't care about watching it now. Last year, there was no Cinderella teams. And they said there won't be Cinderella teams anymore because if you're at Ball State and you're a good power forward and you were going to be there for 4 years or there was a team full of seniors, now all those teams are poached by these other,
Yeah, you can't ever get to that point.
Yeah, somebody like Texas is going to pay you $500,000 to come play basketball for them. And you might be their 6th player, but that's better than being on the win at Murray State and being their star and getting beat in the first round of the playoffs. So they've ruined basketball. I hate that. I bet athletic directors, that's got to be so frustrating.
It is frustrating. I mean, if you're at a place, unless anyway, if you're trying to build a program, and you're at those, schools that traditionally have not been powerhouses, and it's you get a lot of seniors come along 1 year and you're great. Like it's what happened to Oral Roberts a few years ago when they were in the World Series. Now, they'll take your kids.
What is going to happen with how's the NCAA overseeing all this? How has the NCAA not been kicked out of football yet? When are these big power schools like the SEC and the Big Ten going to say we don't need the SEC, the NCAA to tell us how to run our football?
I think the day is coming. I think that point is coming when the football I think there's been talk of that for a long time, but I think it's going to happen where the Power 5 schools are just going to leave and do their own thing.
What does the NCAA
So
do
the NCAA,
anyway?
they don't have enough. They don't have the manpower to police it all.
Yeah, I mean, what are they even in charge of anymore? Because I mean, like back in the day,
collecting money.
Wouldn't
Yeah.
it be like making sure that nobody's getting paid to play? And I mean, did they do the drug testing?
Well, I mean, they rely on schools and
To do the drug testing?
So, I mean, we did our own drug testing, but they would. When you go to the playoffs, like when you go to the World Series or whatever, now there will be groups there that do test your guys once you get to the playoffs, but throughout the year, it's done internally.
But I just even like now, I don't know what the NCAA does other than collect off.
Yeah,
of
and
schools.
they, just administrative things, and I mean that's a great question. I mean, I went through 4 years of NCAA training when we were going through our transition to NCAA. So I was in Indianapolis a lot. I used to say that. I mean, what are we paying for?
Right.
It's a lot of administration.
Because nobody knows. Because everybody's
Yeah.
like, well, how are they the governing body? They don't.
Yeah, so it's hard to.
And I mean, what's there to govern anymore? And we're all paying.
Yeah.
Players are all getting paid to be there. So like, what are we policing?
Usually, the conferences are the ones that really police their own schools.
right.
So so that's you see that a lot, and so really they're the only ones that can police them or each other. But yeah, it's coming to that day where it will. I don't see the NCAA being viable long term.
What you take a situation like John Mateer at Oklahoma, their quarterback. I guess he said he's going to come back and play next year.
Okay.
Well, to me, that's a smart deal because he's not a first, second round draft pick. And I said this about Quinn Ewers last year. Why Quinn didn't go to play at Oregon or Miami and make $3 or $4 million? Because that Beck kid that went to Miami, it was a smart move because he wouldn't have been drafted until the 5th or 6th round, just like Ewers. And so he would have got made $1 million a year maybe this year to set the bench and not get to play none. Or he could have went to Miami like he's making $4 million a year and going to probably be a first or second round pick this year. I don't understand why, if you're not a lock as a first round pick as a quarterback, why you would even consider leaving. Take some of that free college money.
I agree with you. And I think you see that more and more. And then, you're talking about Jared Hunt he was a recruiting coordinator in Arkansas. So Chad Morris's boy went to Virginia this year, got $2 million to go to Virginia from North
play
Texas.
quarterback.
Yeah. And, and they've had a great year.
And that kid that's at North Texas now, the third quarterback, that kid's going to cash in too.
Yeah, he
He
is.
won't be at North Texas next year.
I don't think the coach will be either. But anyway.
No, someone ought to be plunking him up
Yeah.
right now. See, someone told me on the no that said Oklahoma State's really looking at him. I don't know if that's true or not.
I don't. Someone will take him.
But that's going to be a package deal because you're going to get that coach and that quarterback probably both.
Yeah, but the money is. I agree with you on Quinn. He could have gotten a lot of money to go somewhere else. I think he's a high. I'm not sure. I think he's a high character kid, but
I just don't understand why, if you're not going to be a first or second round pick, like Arch Manning, there's no debate he's going back to Texas or somewhere next year.
Yeah.
If he plays good towards the end of the year, people in Texas are going to want him back. They're going
Yes.
to take him back anyways.
Right.
But Arch Manning is not going to go to the pros. He's because there ain't nobody going to
Not
draft
ready,
him anyways.
yeah.
No, he's not nowhere. He might get 2 more years in Texas, but if you're not going to be drafted there, you're crazy. The kid from that LSU that got all these quarterbacks that were preseason deals, they've all faltered this
Yes,
year.
they have.
None of them have stepped up a kid. The kid at Indiana, nobody had him ranked as one of the
No.
top quarterbacks.
and he probably will win the Heisman.
Yes, he probably should. The kid at Tech should probably get it.
Yeah.
That Rodriguez kid. I mean, he's might be the best player in college football
Yeah,
this year.
yeah.
He's by far the best defensive player. But that kid is the kid from Nussmeister.
Yeah, from
Nussmeier.
LSU.
Yeah, he's ruined.
Oh yeah, he's had a terrible.
So why would you? He probably won't be at LSU next
no,
year.
I don't think he will be.
But he needs to transfer somewhere. He don't need to go to the pros. If you're not a first round or second round pick, you're passing up money now. Before the NFL had leverage on you. Now you've got you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Now the kids have got leverage to go back to college because they can make so much money to play. Bo Nix, best thing he did was leave Auburn to go to Oregon,
yes, it was.
and so that.
Yeah, I think in college football is one thing. College football is so much parity right now. I enjoy it, but you really can't. I mean, like South Carolina almost beat Alabama a couple weeks ago.
Right.
And, you really can't. I mean, Wisconsin's been terrible all year, and they beat they beat Washington last week. I think it's great.
The only lock in college football is Ohio State.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
And I hate Ohio State, but they are really good every year.
Yes.
I thought Penn State was going to pull the upset.
I know. They almost did.
They should have won that game.
I don't know how
that
I still don't know how
Indiana-
that kid came down with that ball and got a foot in.
He did.
'Cause
That
he was
was-
getting pushed out.
We were talking about that today because that game, the quarterback at Indiana, he didn't have a great game, but when it mattered,
Yep.
like on that drive, every pass he threw was a dime.
Oh, he was on money at the end
like
of the game.
every one was a perfect pass, or they would have lost.
Yeah.
That was a great comeback. But I think it makes college football very interesting.
College
to watch.
football, and them expanding the playoffs.
Yeah.
And they need to expand it a little further.
Well, I said that too.
I think it needs
I
to
don't
be.
think they should give the first round. I don't think the 4 teams should get the first round buys because none of them did well last year.
No, average 4 because they got too much time off.
Yeah, because you get a week off, and then when you get a bye, you're 2 weeks off without playing a game.
Did any of the teams that had first round buys even make it
I
last
thought they
year?
all lost.
I think they all lost.
Because
Yeah.
Georgia got a first round bye, they were out.
Yep. They all lost.
Yeah, because the final Texas and Ohio State, and I can't believe who the other 2 teams were.
Well, it was. Let's see. Ohio State won it.
Yes, they beat Texas in the semis.
It was Did Notre Dame in the Final Four?
I can't remember who.
I
it
don't
was.
remember.
Yes. Yeah, it was
Notre
the
Dame.
Final Four. No, Notre Dame lost.
Okay.
The Final Four was Oregon, ASU, Georgia, and Boise State.
No. They all got beat.
Texas beat
Arizona State. And Oregon got beat in the first round by Ohio
Yeah.
State. Pretty
Okay, hold on.
Yeah,
Okay.
Oregon was one of the top 4.
Ohio State, Texas, Notre Dame, Penn State. Does that sound right?
That was the Final Four.
And Notre Dame played Ohio State in the next finals.
That's right.
Yes.
Because Texas got beat. It was a 1-point game. Texas had a chance to score, and they screwed up at the end of the game. Sarkisian blows it at the end of the game, any tight games. But anyways, that Ohio State is going to be there. Our friends from College Station, this might be A&M's year this year.
Yeah, so
Maybe
you're
so.
right. So last year, the bracket, Oregon had a bye, Georgia had a bye, ASU had a bye, Boise State had a bye. Is that how it would have been?
And they all
And they all lost.
Yeah, so I don't think it. I think if you went to 16 teams and everybody plays,
I think it's better off.
it is because I think you could have a lot of upsets, 16 versus 1.
Yes. My youngest son, it wears him out that, first of all, he has a real issue with the Power 5 school getting in, the team that's not a Power 5 school. And he told me the other day, he said, you got a team like North Texas is going to get in, or Navy. He goes, they're not one of the top 12 teams in the country. There's no way they should get in over somebody. He goes, you shouldn't get, because you're in a weak conference, should get an automatic deal because you're the best of the week. He said, that's not fair. He said, so you're telling me a school like Ole Miss doesn't deserve to be in? He goes, why would they not deserve to be in? They're one of the top 12 teams in.
They are.
And they might not get in this year.
Yeah.
And he's up, and it really wears him out about Notre Dame. And it does a lot of people. Now, I like Notre Dame, so it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
But he goes, as soon as Notre Dame plays their 1 or 2 good games a year, that's it. They coast, and then they're automatically going to get in. Now, they gave A&M all that A&M wanted.
Oh, they did.
It was
Notre
a great-
Dame's a good football
They have a
team.
very good football
Yeah.
team, and I think they're a top 12 team,
I do too.
legitimately.
I believe they
but
are.
I see where everybody's argument is with them.
Yeah.
But they can't. Their schedule's so far out. And USC used to be relevant. I mean, they played a lot of relevant schools. There's just not very many of them are good right now.
That's right. Yeah, you can't. But Notre Dame, yeah. I mean, I think if Notre Dame played Miami again, Notre Dame would win.
Yes.
Notre Dame's good football.
They have a
team.
real good team. They lost 2 games by one
three
possession.
3 or 4 points.
against A&M and Miami.
Yeah, combined. Yeah.
Do you think Notre Dame has an unfair advantage not being in a conference?
Well, yes,
Because they don't have to play that conference championship.
that's
game.
right. And a lot of those conference games are big rivalry games, so it doesn't really matter the record. So, I mean, you look at, just look in the SEC. I mean, when Tennessee plays, regardless of the record, Tennessee plays Alabama or Florida plays Georgia. That was a tough game, that Florida-Georgia game, just because it's a big rivalry game. So I think, that you just kind of throw out the record and you think, hey, we're going to do everything we can to win this game. And, like A&M and Texas, I think it's great they're playing each other again, but the records don't really matter because they're gonna regardless of how they've been playing, they're all going to play their best for that one game. So I think that's going to be a great game this year. But I mean, I like the rivalry games. I think that's why you watch college football. You love the rivalry. You love, hey, let's see Alabama Auburn. Everybody wants to watch the Iron Bowl. I don't really care much about Ohio State and Michigan, but anyway,
the greatest rivalry ever, they say.
Yeah,
but I'm the same way because I'm not a fan of either one.
Yeah, I don't really care about them. But I mean, everybody wants to watch. Down here anyway, everybody wants to watch Texas OU. I mean, regardless of what the records are. So, or everybody, like I said, it's just when you play in a conference, you just don't want to lose. And also the coaches, as we see in the SEC, are going to get fired if their record's bad in conference. And so they're going to do every week, they're fighting for their lives just to keep a job or to keep relevant. So, but I mean, I've enjoyed watching Mississippi State this year. Mississippi State they're a good. I didn't think they were going to be very good. They're very well coached, and if you're not playing well, they're going to beat you.
The SEC from top to bottom is by far the best conference.
I agree with that.
The people in the Big Ten that think they're so much better because they got Ohio State. Mm-hmm. Ohio State. I don't think Indiana is a top 4 team in the Big Ten. The SEC. I think they're in the Big Ten. They are. Penn State is not very good. My deal with Notre Dame, back to Notre Dame, is the money they make because they don't have to share none of that.
That's right.
So if they played in the national championship game last year, they made more money than Ohio State did, who won that game.
Because they have to share it.
Yes, they don't have to share nothing. They get 100% of that pot, plus they got an NBC contract. I don't understand how Notre Dame, I don't know what their NIL system is. Are they paying a lot of money in?
I'm sure they are.
They have to be.
Yeah, they have to be. And they've got big alumni. So.
Did steroids hit college baseball the way it did the pros in the 90s?
I didn't really see a lot of it.
So
anyway, I don't know that it did, but I didn't see it.
Right. Just because of the way baseball was being played then. You had to have that big home run hitter. Everybody was chasing home runs, which I believe that was the best era of baseball that we've ever seen. Juice these guys up and let's have 50, 60 home runs every year or whatever it is. Or was it 70? What was the number?
I think he had 81.
Yeah, he hit
81.
Yeah.
Juice these guys up. Let them swing that bat. It's not going to make your hand-eye coordination any better. You still got to square up the ball.
I saw stats on baseball the other day. I don't ever watch baseball anymore at all. And I saw a stat about batting averages are way down in the toilet.
They are.
Nobody steals bases.
It's a different game.
Yes, it's all about hitting a home run now.
I don't watch Major League Baseball.
But their attendance went up this year, and that's surprising because them and the NBA numbers are going down in the year. The NBA's gone way down. Baseball actually came up this year, which kind of surprised me because me and Andy have talked about this before. Baseball to me is a great radio sport. So listen to it driving down the road because you can listen to it and everything. You know everything. Football, you can listen to it, but football, there's so many different things that you miss out on. Baseball's pretty cut and dry. But baseball has taken a tumble, and this year they said it came back up. But I want to go watch a baseball game where the score's 15-13, or I want to go watch a 1-0 Nolan Ryan versus Randy Johnson.
Yeah. Or Greg Maddox.
Yes, I want to watch a guy, but I don't want to go watch a game that's 5-3, and it's
Middle of the road.
Somebody hits a 3-run bomb, and
all the runs were home runs.
Yeah, and that's what I guess that's what baseball's come into now.
That's the way they teach them to hit now. So they don't really care about your batting average. It's just all about the exit velocity and launch angle and hitting home runs.
So Tony Gwynn wouldn't even get drafted today.
So. If you're hitting for average or like Rod Carew, those guys, they don't matter that much. So winning the batting average title used to be a big deal. It doesn't matter anymore.
So is there a place for Pete Rose in it?
Well, I mean, I think there would be.
In baseball in general?
Yeah, because Pete Rose, people just love the way Pete Rose played. But anyway, I think it's definitely a lot different game. There's not a emphasis on stealing bases. Back in the golden era of baseball, it was a big deal that like you would get fined if you didn't advance a runner.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you have a runner on first and you hit in a double play, that was really frowned upon. You wanted to hit behind the runner, get the guy to, they don't. Yeah, none of that is emphasized as much. It's pretty much, anyway. Yeah, it's pretty much hitting. You see guys they hit 240 but hit 40 home runs. That's what people want to see. But I don't enjoy it. But I don't really watch Major League Baseball that much.
When would a kid like get on y'all's radar? Because like right now, we're seeing kids 8, 9 years old. They're in travel baseball. They got a pitching coach. They're going to D-bats, and I think a lot of that is nonsense. I think a kid should play every sport until he's 12 years old and then start specializing. I think 8, 9-year-old kids that are just focused on football, baseball, or basketball, whatever the sport is, I think a kid should be well-rounded until they're about 12 and then start narrowing in.
The first-round draft picks in the NFL last year, I think 90% of them played multiple sports in high school.
When would a school like DBU even start looking at a kid?
Well, when I was there, it was a lot different. But, my last year was 04. Mm-hmm. So we had Ben Zobrist, who MVP of the World Series with the Cubs. Mm-hmm. So, but I know now it's all pretty. Now, when I was recruiting, we would recruit kids out of high school.
Yeah,
that doesn't really happen anymore.
No,
all the kids are recruited out of select ball now.
Oh, okay.
So all the recruiting pretty much takes place in the summer.
Okay,
when all the big select tournaments are going on. I was talking to a high school to Lovekin, which is a pretty good baseball area. So they had 3 kids going D1. And so I was asking them how they like. I said, well, hey, what do you think about the coach at Houston? What do you think about the coach at A&M? And I forgot the other school. And he said, I haven't met any of them. Like none of them called me about the kids on our high school team. He said they were all signed out of their select summer league team.
Wow.
That's a big change too.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I think so now they see kids. So the early signing period is basically if a kid doesn't have an offer by the end of his junior year, mm-hmm. That's a big
red flag.
That's a big red flag. Most kids know pretty much where they're going by the end of their junior year.
That early.
Yeah. So they're looking at kids now and
freshman, sophomore.
Yeah, which baseball of all sports. I mean, kids develop so different levels.
Yeah.
And so we would see kids, we'd sign kids their senior year mm-hmm. because all of a sudden, like the guy at North Texas, quarterback at North Texas, never started a varsity football game. Had 0 stars. And now look at him.
He's going to be a rich boy.
Yeah. And so, you see a lot of these kids, they don't really physically develop sometimes till their senior year. Mm-hmm. Or for whatever reasons, they explode their senior year, and it's hard for them to get a scholarship. But the other thing that's different in college baseball now with the NIL is it's hard for freshmen to play. So you see a lot of freshmen, you see a lot of kids out of high school that are really better off if they go to a junior college or somewhere where they're going to play all the time. And so my old compliance officer at DBU was a guy named Trent Wall. Well, Trent's son played at Mount Pleasant, was throwing 91 out of high school, and didn't have a lot of offers. I told him, I said, hey, he needs to go to junior college. So he goes to junior college, has a great year, and he just signed a letter of intent with Baylor because that's where D1s are they're signing kids who are ready to play immediately. Right. They're not taking kids as a freshman and developing them.
Yeah. You can't develop a player now. Because the pressure's on.
That's right. You have to have kids, and that's the way it is really in football.
Right.
So, A&M, both are, the guy, and I forgot his name, but the defensive end, they got that has 11 sacks. He came from Bowling Green, I think. You're getting guys that are ready. You want to plug them and they're ready to play.
Bill Snyder did that at Kansas State through junior college.
Yeah.
What about when you do watch Major League Baseball now? a good portion of the players are not even Americans.
No, they're not.
I mean, a big portion.
That's the other thing that's different.
Yeah, me and Michelle went to a Ranger game one night, and they had like one American on their whole starting roster. And this was like 8 or 10 years ago. I was like, I don't even know who these people are.
And I blame select ball for that.
Is that what's happened now?
I think so because, and I kind of saw that. So I started after I left DB. I started a college baseball summer league. So I remember. So I got all the players. So we had 144 players. And I remember, we had kids from Stanford to Florida State because I knew all the coaches. And so they sent me. So we had 76 kids off that.
Is this like a Cape Cod Summer League type deal?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we had 76 kids became major leaguers that came in. But anyway, I remember when they came in, because I hadn't seen them, I just took names. So when I got them, I remember looking around. I think we had four of the kids were black. Mm-hmm. Well, when I was at DBU, I mean, that was much different. But there was an article that came back even in the early 2000s that, it used to be that 1 out of every 7 major league players were African American. Now it's like not 1 out of every 30 or something.
Because they play
like
basketball.
That. It's because of select ball.
They can't afford it.
It's select ball. Most can't afford to play. Mm-hmm. It's all. I mean, I watched kids and I saw that in college baseball in the early 2000s. Like every kid, I could almost tell you what every kid looks like, and it's kind of the same way now. The kids. You don't see a lot of guys like that are 6'4", and like Frank Thomas type kids,
right?
That are just massive, or they're all kind of like 5'11". They hit a lot, line drive hitters.
Not a lot of big first basemen like there used to be.
Yeah, it's a lot very technically sound, very advanced because they've had all these lessons for years and years. But, just awesome athletes, no.
It's a rich white boy sport.
Yeah. And so those kids are not making it to the big leagues. So you go, and I've been to the Dominican Republic and seen it. Mm-hmm. So you go to the Dominican, and those kids, I was shocked. I was there when school's going on, and none of them were in school. They're going to baseball fields every day, and they're playing on. I mean, the fields they're playing on. There was a dead dog in right field, and they play around the dog. But if there's an open field, kids are playing, and if they can't afford a baseball, they make one out of tape. But these kids love to play baseball, and they walk around with gloves and baseball, and and the teaching there, they get really, there's a lot of former major league players that live there, but they get really good teaching, and then their deal is if they ever do make it to the big leagues, then they send money back to the group that helped them get there, and help other kids. But I remember I was watching, there was like their version of a naval academy. And so I was watching a kid over there, and there was a kid that was about 6'4", then the prettiest swing I have ever seen in my life. And I said, "Who is that?" And they said, "That kid is 15." He was 15 years old, and he was working out for the Milwaukee Brewers.
Whoa.
And then he had 3 other teams coming in that afternoon, and they were all making an offer to him. He was going to start playing immediately.
What happened to him?
I don't know. I didn't know. I don't remember the kid's name. I bet he's probably still playing somewhere. That wasn't that long ago.
15 years old.
Yeah, but he was 15 at the time. I guess he can say when they're 16.
How old are you?
I am 66.
66. Okay, you're 8 years older than me. When you were a kid, kids played baseball in neighborhoods. I grew up in Wichita Falls. The other day, I drove somewhere the other day, and me and Tony went somewhere through an old neighborhood where we used to live at, and I was like, we used to practice baseball there. Houses. We used to practice baseball there. An old backstop there with nothing around it. A lot still. Every backstop had practice when I was a kid growing up. The girls played softball over there. The little kids played t-ball there. There was a kid of Little League here. There was a year of 5th and 6th graders played here. Pony League, the older kids played here. I mean, it was everywhere was baseball field. You don't see that anymore.
No.
Now, if you'd have drove by them same parks, you might have seen some kids playing basketball during basketball time of year. That was it. Now you see kids playing baseball all the time. Also don't see kids playing football in their yards like they used to either. We played football or baseball. Now, I don't remember having very many pickup baseball games, but we played football every freaking day. I mean, we played football
We
at
did
the bus stop, everywhere. That's all we did. Kids today don't play stuff like that.
That's funny because you had that football laying out there, and I said, "Do y'all remember when? I mean, the best football was playground football.
Yes.
I mean, when we had recess, I mean, we had a football game ready to go
Every day.
Yep.
Every single day we played football at school.
Yep.
We pick, them two guys you pick, whoever picks first, and the last guy's I guess George is on our team this year, or this week. But you did. But kids today don't do that. But baseball back then. But when you go to the islands like that, those kids play baseball like Americans did.
They did.
And if you watch that movie Sandlot, those kids were typical kids in California, which could have been anywhere in the USA. Those kids had pickup baseball teams in their neighborhood all the time.
And we did.
Yeah.
When I was growing up.
Yeah, but kids do not do that anymore.
Now, we would mow. We had a big field behind our house, and we would mow it. And then whoever showed up, if we didn't have enough for a right fielder, if you hit it to right field, you're out. Yeah. We made our, we policed ourselves.
Right.
Yeah, we made it. Yeah, which you taught you to think, but you made your own rules, and and you learned how to hit.
Yeah, we had
don't hit it to right.
We
field.
had ghost runners.
Yes,
that's Ghost
right.
Runner right there.
Yep.
It's Ghost Runner.
Yep.
That's all.
I know.
Did where'd you grow up at?
I was born in Lubbock.
So a Texas kid though.
Yes.
See,
yeah. So we lived my dad was a minister, so we lived all over, but I mainly in Texas. So yeah.
And I think it was that same way all over.
Yeah.
But they have. But when you watch the pros now, I'm assuming the Japanese must play baseball year round.
I think, yeah, I'm sure they do
because they're dominating.
Yeah.
The kid at the Dodgers, maybe the greatest player ever to play the game.
He's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, it's just what's he making, $70 million a year?
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
But he's worth every dime of it to them. But what an athlete!
Do you think kids are putting too much stress on their body at this young age? Like, I wonder if we expand in 5 years, like, are we going to see more soft tissue injuries?
I don't know. I know this. I know I was talking to a good friend of mine was the team doctor for the Rangers, and he said that almost every kid by the time they start college now has had Tommy John surgery.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, but they got people trying to teach them to throw stuff they shouldn't be throwing. Like, I don't think they ought to be throwing sliders when they're 12 years old or 15 years old.
Right.
Throw a fastball and a curveball, but
yeah,
they're out there trying to be. Yeah. They got somebody giving them lessons. That
doesn't really.
That's
know
the
what
problem with
doing.
a lot of the lessons they're getting are from people that really have never coached.
Right. I remember I was like 10 years old or something, and I wanted to learn how to throw a curveball, and they're like, "No, you're gonna hurt your arm.
Yeah,
don't just throw it.
Throw a fastball.
Throw a fastball. Yeah, don't. Yeah. You're gonna hurt your elbow.
Teach a kid to throw a knuckleball because that's not hard on the arm.
That's true.
And nobody knows how to throw it. Yeah. And it's automatic way the majors if you're any good.
Yeah, I remember when I was at Dallas Baptist, Coach Harp, he would have guys. Our closer almost every year seemed to be like a submariner, which you don't see that much.
No,
that down below.
But I'm telling you, kids are not used. Players are not used to seeing that.
Dan Quisenberry, wasn't that the guy that's at the
Wolves?
the
quiz. Yeah, the quiz. Yeah,
he threw that sucker like that.
Yeah. But there was they've always been effective. It's good to give people different looks, but anyway, that's the other thing. Almost everybody throws the same stuff. Their fastball, slider, changeup. Yeah, that's pretty much everything.
Right.
With today's genetics, all the stuff people put in their body, in about 15 years, we're going to see an NFL quarterback 50 years old playing the football because they don't ever get hit no more. They very seldom get hit. Tom Brady lasted forever because he played in the era. If he did, if he would have played when Terry Bradshaw did, Tom Brady would have been out after 10 years like everybody else because they physically just get beat up.
Roger.
Yeah. Now, how old's Aaron Rodgers?
41.
41 years old, and he's starting to look Father Time's catching up.
Yeah, it is. I was looking at that last night.
He missed a couple throws last night.
And he never missed throws, and he's getting a little, he's just slower. Up here, he's got it still, but physically, and that just happens. He's 41 years old, but you can tell that the time is catching up with him. And he's taking wonderful care of his body, I think. Tom Brady, same way. Tom Brady looks like he'd probably come out and play right now and still start for probably at least.
I agree with that.
Is he playing in the some Olympic game or something like that? Is he gonna
play the touch football?
It's what I'd heard. I'd heard he was offered a lot of
Really?
money to play in that Olympic game.
He'll be awful disappointed with his teammates, though. Can you imagine having Tom Brady playing? You actually are the one guy on the team that's not an NFL player that makes that deal, and you drop a pass. Whew.
Tom Brady's going to be all over you. But I back to the kids starting so young. I got a 10-year-old, I got an 11-year-old and a 7-year-old, and that's just not how I want to spend my time with them. Is shuffling them
select
to
ball,
yeah. Like
No, I don't disagree with that.
I'm just starting to realize like my time's getting shorter and shorter with both of them, and I don't want to chase them around these tournaments and everything else.
I know I had a family in Dallas a few years ago that called, and they were wanting to pay me money to help their kid get a college scholarship. And I said, I'm not going to take your money. But I was like, and I said, but just tell me about your son. And so he was going to be a senior, and he was going to play in a fall league. And so I said, who'd he play for? He played for the Mustangs. I said, okay, everybody else on his team had already signed. And I said, how big's your son? He's like 5'7", and he didn't run the big time in baseball is the 60. So that's what tell me what his 60-time run. And I was like, look, I've never seen your son, but I'm going to tell you he's not going to get a Division I scholarship. I said, if he doesn't have one now, he's not getting one. But I said, why don't you do this? Why don't you ask him? I said, does he even want to play?
Right.
And I said, does he even want to play college football, baseball? And so he went and asked him. He said, no. So he said, I don't want to play.
Why are you pushing it?
Yeah, and he said, I just want to go to college. And he said, look, I know, he saw the other guys on the team are a lot better than he was. They know.
Yeah.
And they called me back and said, well, thanks. And I said, yeah. But I thought, well, why didn't you just ask your kid? But I think the parents pushed them. And, they all want but anyway, if they really want what is best for their kids, there used to be a percentage. I don't know what it is now, but I used to tell kids when I was an athletic director, I think 1 out of 8 high school kids got a scholarship to play college baseball. Mm-hmm. 1 out of 7 college baseball players got a chance to play professional baseball.
Right.
And it was like 1.5 or 2% of every kid that got drafted to play professional baseball made it to the big leagues.
Right.
The odds are so
it just
stacked.
Shrinks.
Yes.
And it shrinks rapidly. Like the further you get, it just shrinks and shrinks and shrinks. When you were on these recruiting trips, could you ever tell if a kid was like faking his love for the game? Just like that kid that's 5'7", and he's just like when the parents finally ask him, like, do you really want to do this? He's like, no, I don't.
Yeah, you could tell. You can watch kids play. There's a lot. You can tell a lot by watching kids play. There's a lot of things, body language on kids, and just how well they compete. Mm-hmm. And you can tell guys just really love. I think you can. If you watch somebody fairly, and especially if you see them more than once, but you could just say this kid just loves to play baseball. Mm-hmm. And we had a lot of kids like that at DBU where they may not have had a professional career, but they were great college players.
Right.
They just loved to play baseball. And you can beat a lot of good teams by just having kids that love playing the game. Because there's a lot of really talented kids that don't really love the game.
Yeah.
And so, this talent. We were just talking about this, like Lagway, the quarterback at Florida. He was offered a lot of money to be the quarterback at Florida. And I watch him, and he just does not look like he enjoys being a Division I quarterback.
Yeah.
He's not having a lot. He just doesn't look like he's having any fun. Mm-hmm. And I just, that's sad to me. Mm-hmm. But
were coaches usually pretty upfront? Like if you got them, in closed doors, like kid with great statistics or whatever, would they tell you if he was a bad teammate, or do they just kind of focus in on how his stats are?
I think that's one thing that's really changed. When you were dealing with the high school coaches, you could ask them. Does this kid go to class?
Yeah.
Is this kid going to make it at a place like DB? They're going to fit in. And because we're going to work them hard, and they would be honest with you. The select coaches, I'm not. It just kind of depends, but I will say, that these kids are paying them a lot of money.
Right.
So they want kids to, so they're, so the temptation is there not to be as honest about, they're trying to push all their kids to get, to get signed somewhere. So I think you're better off talking to high school coaches that don't really have any financial stake in it.
How does that select thing even work? Like, how do they decide who's going to coach this year? Is it dads?
I don't know how they pick their coaches, honestly. So
and they're getting paid to be there.
Yeah,
some sort of something.
But there are a lot of high school coaches that do coach select in the summer for extra money. Mm-hmm. So I do know there are a lot of high school coaches that do that. I don't know where they get all of them.
Right.
So, but I do see some, I wonder why they're coaching, but, I could say the same thing about high school kids, but yeah, I would, but I always base everything. I was kind of like you said, I would look at people as like, is this a guy I want my son to play for or not? Mm-hmm. So,
right.
Yeah.
What's the criteria for kids at DBU? Was academics important? I mean,
yeah, so one, yeah, you want them to be a good student. Two, at DB, you want them to fit into the culture. I mean, it is a Christian university. So, you want kids that are going to fit into the culture. And three, at DBU, you were going to have to work harder than we didn't get the recruits that Texas or A&M got. So when we got a kid, you just know we wanted kids. I mean, we were going to have to outwork everybody.
Yeah.
And so, and I think that's the way Coach Harp was, and I think that's the way Dan Hefner is. So I know Dan Hefner, who's the head coach there now, has a motto, we got to get 1% better every day. Mm-hmm. And he does a good job because their kids, I watch their kids when they come in, and then I watch their kids by the end of the year, and those kids get better. And that doesn't happen at a lot of places.
So when you're in charge, because you're in charge of the whole organization, wins and losses matter, obviously, but there also has to be something for you made your kids a lot better this year. You know what I mean? Like maybe the wins and losses don't reflect like what you actually did.
Right.
So how do you weigh that as an athletic director when it comes time to renewing contracts and everything?
Yeah, and that was a lot of it. One is so you look at what you just said. You brought in kids that really fit in at the school, and two, do your kids. You were developing your kids. You made them better.
Yeah.
And so a lot of it, and I always said that too. It is. They are games. So the other part is I wanted all the kids to have a great college experience. Mm-hmm. And so, and part of that is winning. You don't want to go somewhere and, that doesn't mean you're winning national championships every year, but you're coming in, you're having success, and you are getting better. And but I think the other, and then we had I started a thing when I was at DBU, and that's which they still do, the Breakfast of Champions. So we had a breakfast for all the kids that had a 3.5 GPA or higher. And so we would have a breakfast like at 6 a.m, sometime in the spring before school started. And then I would have them invite the professor that had made the biggest impact on their life. And they had to get up and tell why they brought that professor with them.
Yeah.
And so that, because, the reality is most of these people are going to be, you want them to be good moms, good dads.
Yeah.
You want them to be good employees. Mm-hmm. That's what most of them are going to do. They're not playing professional sports.
Very true.
And so that's really the ultimate goal. But the other thing is, I used to get a lot of, if there was friction between the academic side, like, hey, these kids are, and so I wanted all of the, faculty there to understand that how many kids we had that were actually really good students. And there were, they didn't know some of the kids were even athletes.
Right.
They saw a kid with a ball cap on that was maybe asleep in the back of the class. But, the guy sitting on the front row that wasn't wearing a ball cap was also on the baseball team. So they didn't really know that. So they were always kind of surprised at how many kids we had that were really good students. And two, they always appreciated, because none of their other students ever brought them anywhere and told them how much they meant to them.
Yeah.
And so it was a great thing, and I still think it is. But that's the bad part of the NIL, because the one thing no one really talks about is, you go to 4 schools in 4 years. Or, 4 schools in 3 years. What about getting your degree? And
nobody even thinks about that anymore.
I know. So I was like, at the end of the day, you are going to college to, our veterinarian, it was, he was a quarterback I knew him when he was in high school. He went to the same high school that my kids went to. He went to Arlington Lamar. And then he played college football at North Carolina State. And now he's a veterinarian.
Right.
And,
thank God you didn't turn your back on academics.
That's right. And so, you see guys, so most those guys are not going to play in the NFL, the majority of them.
My orthopedic surgeon was Roger Clemens, catcher at Texas.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, Dr. Funk.
Oh, yeah?
Do you remember him?
Yes.
Dale Funk?
Yes.
Yeah, he's my orthopedic surgeon in Abilene. Cool. But good thing he studied.
That's right.
I'm sure he was starting catcher at Texas, so he had to be a pretty good player. But, but didn't play in the majors.
Yep.
Hedge your bets, kids. Hedge your bets.
So we have one of the guys with us hunting. He's with the College Station ISD. Well, the superintendent at College Station ISD is actually a Longhorn, Tim Harkrider, and he played college baseball at Texas. I don't know if you remember Tim Harkrider.
Yeah, I remember the name.
And so anyway, Tim's now the superintendent at College Station ISD, but he should have been a big leaguer. So I actually recruited Tim when he was in high school. I think he was from Carthage. And but it's kind of funny, to see these guys that were, a lot of these guys that are successful in something else, they played college sports. And really, that's the stuff that gets lost with all the NIL stuff.
When you saw, so you watched Roger Clemens in high school or in college?
Yes, I did. I remember this very clearly.
So when you saw him, you knew he had it.
Yes, I did.
In high school?
No, in college.
In college, but you knew when he was at Texas.
I have a great story for you. So we played Texas, and this was 1983, and we could really hit. Like, we set a national record that year for home runs. Mm-hmm. So the week before, we had played Arkansas, who was number 5 in the country, and we beat them 19-9 and hit 9 home runs in one ball game.
Wow.
So we come in the next week, and we're playing Texas. So the number 1 pitcher that year in college baseball was Calvin Schiraldi. So everybody's projections, he's going to be the first pick in the draft. And he pitched in the big leagues. He was in the Bill Buckner game.
Yes.
Yeah, he was throwing for the Red Sox. Mm-hmm. Anyway, but Calvin was unbelievable, in college. So we play game 1 against Texas of a doubleheader. And so Calvin throws the first game and shuts us out. So we get beat 6-0. I'll never forget. So we go. So in between the doubleheader, we go in the locker room. Coach Harp's talking to all the guys, and he said, "Guys, don't worry about it. That's the best pitcher in college baseball you're ever going to see. Let's go out and hammer the next guy." We did not know they had brought this guy in from a junior college. And the next pitcher is Roger Clemens. So Calvin's throwing like 93, 94. Roger's throwing like 96, 97. And we're watching him warm. I'm looking at Coach Harp like, yeah, let's hammer the next guy. And so anyway, so he shuts us out. We got shut out twice all year. And it was all on the same day against Calvin Schiraldi and Roger Clemens. So at Dish Falk, sometimes the sun, the mound's in the sun, and home plate is in the shadows, which makes it almost impossible to hit. Yeah. So when he was throwing, the sun is hitting that way. We had guys come back to the dugout like, I didn't even see the ball.
Can't see it.
Yeah. But anyway,
that's terrifying.
So several years later, Roger wins the Cy Young Award. So I called Coach Harp up and I said, "Hey, Coach, remember that guy you said hammer the next guy? He just won the Cy Young.
That's right. He was a stud.
He was a stud.
How many pitches did you want a kid to have?
But you do when you saw him. That guy.
You knew that he had it.
Well, actually, both of them, but especially Roger. Like Roger was, that guy was unbelievable.
If you're recruiting a 17-year-old kid, that's going to be pitcher, how many pitches do you want that kid to have coming into your program?
Well, I really, but the big thing we looked at was really just their fastball. But you did want them to have another pitch.
Right.
So they either had to have a curveball. Now, we would teach them a slider in college.
And then the coaches can teach them other stuff.
But you had to have another pitch.
Mm-hmm.
But, as you know, Nolan Ryan for years and years was the strikeout king. He had the best fastball, but he never had a secondary pitch.
Mm-hmm.
And then he developed that circle change.
That sucker was good.
And then all of a sudden he started winning.
Yeah.
You got to have a second pitch.
So would you want a kid that was throwing 92, 93?
Yeah, what's like the
that's
minimum?
Pretty much. When I was recruiting, which was back through the early 90s, but so we would pretty much, you wanted everybody, the magic number was 90.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the guns have changed. So, I see kids now and everybody's throwing 98, 99.
So you think the guns
the
back
radar
then were
guns
different?
are different.
So the kids throwing 98 today are throwing 90 from back in the day?
They absolutely are. So I talked to scouts about it. So back in the 90s, so they had two guns. They had the Jugs gun, and you still see that Jugs machine. So there was the Jugs gun, and then there was the Ray gun. So the Jugs gun caught the ball out of the hand. The Ray gun caught the ball crossing home plate. So it's usually about 3 to 4 miles an hour slower.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was watching all these guys throw, and I was mainly college guys. And I was like, man, every kid out there is throwing 95, 96. So anyway, I asked a scout, I said, okay, are they still using, basically he said, yeah, Rain, you're right. They're basically using the old Jugs gun, the faster gun. But the kids are still throwing hard. But I think their minimum now, when they're looking at kids, they want kids throwing 92 and up. It used to be 90, but I think it's now 92. If you're throwing 92, they're going to take them.
Is that just genetics? Is that just something that you're born with, that high velocity? Or is that something that we
just get bigger, stronger? We had the kid, when I was talking about Billy Brewer earlier, when we had Billy Brewer, Billy had a really good curveball.
Yeah.
And but he was always like 88 to 90 fastball when he was at Dallas Baptist. He got drafted late and by the Kansas City Royals. And so I remember it was 2 years into his professional career. I got a call from I got a call and they said, hey, we're looking at bringing Billy up to the big leagues. And I was like, you're kidding me. I said, how hard is he throwing? And 95, 96. So he picked up about 5, 6 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So
just get bigger and stronger.
Yeah. So over time, he just got bigger, stronger.
Could you imagine a guy like Poage Rodriguez? Because when he came up to the Rangers, he was only, 19, 20 years old?
I think he was 19.
He would have been a college freshman.
Yeah, I know.
Isn't that crazy how good he was?
He was unbelievable. I still think, there's a big argument. Was he the greatest all time or Johnny Bench?
I think he was.
But, Poage.
He had a cannon.
He did.
So did Johnny Bench.
Yes, he did.
And Johnny Bench was a lot bigger.
Yeah.
But Poage is who I would have.
I love Poage. Poage was unbelievable. He was great.
Bench was before my time, though, so I don't know much about Johnny Bench. But I do remember a whole lot of Poage.
I remember Poage's first game, they came up, and Ricky Henderson was playing against the A's. And Ricky Henderson was going to steal, the best, here's this young kid. Fucking Poage threw him out by 5 feet.
Yeah.
It wasn't even close.
Yeah.
And, he was a phenomenal prospect. But to think about that, if he would have been an American citizen, he would have been a freshman in college.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Or probably drafted, but they would have sent him to rookie ball in Butte, Montana or something.
Yeah.
But that's what he would have been playing against. That's just amazing.
But I think he was phenomenal. He would have got, there are a lot of kids drafted out of high school, but he would have been drafted out of high school. He was.
Oh, he was phenomenal.
Yeah, he was. To make it to the big leagues at 19 tells you a lot, especially as a catcher.
Yeah.
Do the same eligibility rules apply for baseball as they do for football? Because now you can the JUCO years don't count towards.
Yeah, it's the same rules.
It's the same rules. So you could play 7 years or whatever it is.
Yeah, I don't know. I know Coach Harp's grandson played a couple years at junior. So he's appealing to get those taken off. So he's now at UTA. So I'm not there. I don't know exactly how it works.
Right.
But I do know it's the same across the board.
It would be a great way to like hone your craft, like you said.
Yeah.
If you're not ready for that D1, go play JUCO now. It's not going to count against your eligibility if you ever make it. Hone your craft, get that offer, and then you can still, because that was a knock against going to JUCO for a long time, wasn't it? It's going to count against your eligibility.
Yeah, and there's a lot of good coaches in junior college. Like Tim Tadlock at Texas Tech was at Grayson.
Right.
And Skip Johnson, who's now in Oklahoma, was at Navarro.
No, they were big rivals there then.
Yeah,
too.
they were junior college coaches. Mitch Thompson, who's at Baylor, was at McLennan. There's a lot of really good coaches in Texas junior colleges. So there's nothing wrong with going to them. And like I said, right now, if I had a son, I'd send him to a junior college because, he's
going to get a play.
He's going to get to play, and they need to play.
I'm going to tell you what's crazy is if anybody's against JUCO, it wouldn't be the people at Vanderbilt. Because if it wasn't for that Pavlova kid or whatever his name is, nobody'd ever care about it. I wish Texas had him as a quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
We would legitimately be a national championship contender.
Yeah.
And we still might make the playoffs, but we're not nowhere close to winning the damn thing.
Yeah.
But with him on our team, we would be a legit.
Yeah.
He is. Does he have 1 year left too? Because he's been like playing football.
I
7
don't know,
years.
but he's like 26.
Yeah.
I mean, he's eligible for NFL
Retirement
program.
I mean, it's crazy. And then, what's funny is you'll hear a kid like that's coming out and then be like, yeah, him and Lamar Jackson played college football together.
Yeah.
Like, Lamar Jackson's on his second contract already.
I know. Some of those kids, it's amazing. And then when they gave everybody the COVID years.
Yes.
I
think he's got 8 years of eligibility.
Yeah.
And he might be 26.
But DBU played to go to the College World Series right after the COVID. So they played Virginia in the super regional and lost in the bottom of the ninth to go. But I remember their team then, their average age of their kids was 23, like the average age. Like
On Virginia?
No, DBU.
Oh, DBU? All
Yeah,
old
I mean,
kids?
they had a bunch of COVID kids.
Oh,
What do you-
right.
So they all got like 2 extra years.
What is it? Okay, like DBU, we got to get down here. You got a pheasant hunt in a minute. DBU, they make it to the College World Series in a row. Have y'all made the College World Series yet?
Never made it.
Been close, though.
Yes.
So the Super is.
Yeah.
How much money does a school like that cash in on if you make the College World Series?
I don't know what they pay now. When I was AD, I think it was a couple hundred. I think they paid $250 to you.
So it's got to be $1 million
Yeah,
now.
so they should pay more.
And they pay all the expenses.
Yeah, and they pay all your expenses. Yeah. So when I remember, I really wish. So if DB's listening, I really wish the DBU would have gone D1 and everything. The fee to go Division I and everything when we applied and played baseball D1 was $50,000. So it's over $1 million now. Too.
So
If you want to become ACU had to pay $1 million to go Division I.
Are they playing football and they're playing basketball? Everything.
Everything D1.
And ACU's going to catch North Texas before it's over with.
Yeah, ACU spent a lot of money in their facilities.
No, they're really nice.
Yeah, they are very nice, and they've got good. I mean, Abilene is an underrated town to me. I like Abilene.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, Abilene, I was talking today with somebody that lives in Abilene. To go out and eat dinner down there, it's got such an influx of all these data centers now.
They said it's awful.
Yeah, terrible.
They said traffic is terrible.
And
Really?
Yeah, you got to wait an hour and a half to eat dinner a lot of
Really?
places. They're going to have, they say 500,000 people will be living there within 2 years.
Yeah, they got all that AI stuff.
And they say it's not bad. We'll take my hometown, Wichita Falls.
Yep.
A lot of speculation Midwestern's going to try to go Division I. The city of Wichita Falls just bought the mall there. They're going to bulldoze it down there. And I've heard Midwestern's going to build their own football stadium there. I don't know if that happens or not. But Midwestern's talking about going Division I. Football wise, they're a decent. They're like Tarleton. Tarleton has been done pretty well for themselves.
Very well. They lost one game.
Yeah, and so Midwestern could do the same thing.
They could.
And they're in basketball about every 2 or 3 years. But is it that much more financially stable for them schools to do that?
Yes.
Then that's what they should do.
Yeah, you get money from the conference. Like you said, like Ohio State, They play for the national championship. Everybody in the conference benefits.
Mm-hmm.
So the money they get from the conferences, especially on the TV deals, yeah, it's a much better deal.
And everybody goes to a big bowl game because every year they're having to give somebody a waiver to get in because they don't win enough games.
Yeah. So the money they're getting from, like A&M and Texas are getting from the SEC is crazy money.
Yeah.
The SEC network and pretty much everybody in the SEC goes to bowl games. I mean, the SEC is so good across the board
in every sport,
and everybody talks about how tough the SEC is in football. I would hate to be an SEC baseball coach, because I think they have 8 or 9 teams that are top 25,
and it's same in girls softball.
Yeah,
Every team.
It is tough.
I mean, you got Oklahoma and Texas in softball,
Mm-hmm.
and you've got Florida is always good in softball, and then you got one of the LSU's good in softball. The Big 12, it's all Arizona,
Tech
Texas
played
Tech.
for the national championship last year.
I mean, that's what I mean. It's just, but across the board, them schools are all good, but they're making so much money off of those TV contracts. There has not been you're a university guy. College tuition, absolutely ridiculous how much
crazy.
It costs. And don't feel sorry for the colleges, because every school I go to college, they're expanding. Mm-hmm. They're building less parking lots and more buildings. There's nowhere for the kids to park. Mm-hmm. But they charge you $100 for that parking pass when they don't give you a place deal. College was ruined when the government started funding tuitions, because it made it go up so much. And I feel sorry for the kids there. There's so many kids got so many good opportunities to play sports. Mm-hmm. Those college baseball players all are learning how to juggle a schedule besides work, and that's going to pay off for them big time in life.
I always said this, and I don't want to get off on politics, but you see all this going on in college campuses across the country. But I always say the best balanced kids at university are the kids who are playing college sports.
Yeah.
I would say college baseball probably more than anything.
Yeah.
Because, and they're just, they see more of the reality of, number one, you play at a lot of different colleges, so you get to experience a whole lot more. And, I think they're a much more balanced education than kids who just come to class every day. They don't have any outside experience.
The best gig is the kids playing college golf.
College golf is awesome.
They're staying at the nicest hotels. Mm-hmm. They go to play on the nicest golf courses. And if you marry someone that you're playing with, you're probably going to marry another rich girl because she's there on a college golf scholarship.
Yeah.
And most poor kids are not doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, college golf. So I will tell you, I'll brag on their golf team is Division II, but they're kind of like baseball. But anyway, Kenny Trapp's the head, he's the head golf coach for the women's golf team. So he was a very good pitcher for us. He was our ace and pitched for the Red Sox, played pro ball, hurt his arm, came back, became a golf coach, and he always loved golf. So he's the winningest coach in the history of NCAA Division II.
Wow.
And so they played in they don't get to play a lot of D1s like baseball. So he was invited a couple years ago to a D1 golf tournament, the only non-D1 in the golf tournament, and he won it. So he goes and wins the whole thing. They're really good.
What does a college golf coach make a year?
I have no idea. I know.
What would you think, guessing?
I'm guessing a good one, I don't know, couple 200, 250.
Making $250,000 a year, coach golf.
Yeah.
Be a pretty good gig.
Yeah.
It's rainy and crappy, we ain't doing nothing today. It's not like we're going to put indoors.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't really know, though, but yeah, you're right, it's a great gig.
It is a good deal. Well, Wayne, we need to get here.
All
So you
right.
can go fast.
Well, thank y'all for having me.
I'm going to tell you what, next time if you bring, is it Chad his name?
No, Jared.
Jared, ex-recruiting coordinator for colleges.
Yeah.
We'd love to get him on next time
Okay.
and talk about all that, because what an interesting jobs.
Yeah.
Love having people up here that do stuff that's outside of the box. And now your company you work for, y'all build.
I work for Symmetry Sports Construction, and we build sports stadiums. And so we did Abilene Christian.
The windmill sure has been good for y'all, hasn't it?
Yeah, we did Abilene Christian University's baseball, softball. Anyway, we did DBU's baseball field.
Are y'all doing any of the oil field out here, the oil companies? Or these towns that are oil towns?
We have, yes. We do a lot of work in Lubbock and Abilene.
They're spending a lot of money. You go by
Yeah.
these little towns, and they've got
Yeah.
an artificial turf.
Yes,
They got all
they
that
do.
school board meeting. Andy's a deacon at his church. Got to throw that in real quick. And school board member, so Andy knows the ins and outs of
Yeah.
all the fine. When are we getting a new stadium with our AstroTurf in Knox City?
Never if I have anything to do with it. I don't like turf. I'm a grass guy. I'm a Lambeau
No new
field.
facilities for us?
I'm a Lambeau field kind of.
I don't blame him. I would say I love natural grass. The problem is with the big schools where they have freshman football, you can only play
a lot of wear and tear.
You can only play 30 to 35 hours on a well-maintained grass field.
Yes.
And so you have to have artificial.
What I can't believe they were talking about the Pittsburgh Stadium because Pitt plays there, and then the Steelers.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago, they were talking about just how it was almost borderline unsafe to play.
Yes.
In Pittsburgh
Oh, it was on
there's
grass?
just- yeah. At
Oh,
the
yeah, you
Acrisure
can't
State,
play.
they had to resod
Yeah.
it after a game.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's why you turf your field.
yeah, and I'm assuming in Pittsburgh too, you got a lot of rain and
weather's
crap,
bad, yeah.
crap on it. So
Yeah.
The one that they need to fix is the one at Giants. They've had so many ACLs
it's
on that.
horrible.
It's bad. And they only play pro football games there. So it's one game a
Yeah.
weekend, maybe two. And that's
I
it
would
every
say
once in a while.
that the problem in the NFL, most of those fields are given to them, and it's not the highest quality turf.
oh, there's grades to turf.
Yeah, so they're getting. Yeah, if I went through the science of it, there's a lot of science behind it, but anyway, it's a. So that's not the safest product that they could buy.
Well,
You
what's
think-
crazy to me is that soccer comes in and they're like, no, you got to get rid of the turf. Go to grass.
Yeah, yeah. Soccer really doesn't like it. There's anyway. I could. So we're the AstroTurf rep. AstroTurf has. Anyway, there. I mean, you could make it safe.
Right.
I'll
no,
just
I
leave
just
it at
thought
that.
I just thought all AstroTurf was AstroTurf. I didn't realize that they had
there's
grades of it.
yeah. There's, everybody. It's just like everything. So people try to make it cheaper.
Sure.
So they can get a bigger share of the market.
Right.
But the big thing is you got to make it safe.
If you're going to have
But most people won't pay. A lot of people won't pay to make it safe.
if you got a $300 million payroll for your football team,
Yeah.
you should have. I would be wanting to pay an extra $100 million to make sure my team's on this.
Agreed.
Make
Because
sure
them
Malik
NFL
Neighbors,
teams have a ton of money.
make sure Malik Neighbors is there in November when it
Yes.
starts to count.
Yeah.
But do they have a machine that'll pick up sunflower seeds off of these AstroTurf fields?
It's hard to get sunflower seeds. There is a groomer,
Yeah.
that comes along and gets most of it.
Because a
But the-
town next to us had a new AstroTurf field put in, and
Yeah,
they
that-
banned sunflower seeds
Yeah, they
pretty quickly.
ban sunflower seeds. That's probably the worst. Like anything else is probably okay, but sunflower seeds are hard to get out.
And that's a baseball snack too.
It is a baseball snack. It's almost done baseball.
I forgot about
seed.
them having signs. You can't have sunflowers.
Yeah, no.
Where was that
sunflower.
at? They put
Monday.
Monday.
Oh, Monday.
Yeah, the
said
next
no,
town over.
no sunflowers.
Yeah.
They got heated dugouts
Oh my word!
for Little League baseball.
Well, no, it's their high school team.
Oh, it was a softball girls
softball.
team.
Yeah.
The heated.
We went to a
Heated dugout.
softball game and it was cold as could be. And he goes, "Not bad in the dugout. We got heaters on in here." I'm
Yeah.
like, "What?"
I've been in
crazy.
dugout. We played Arkansas when it was snowing. I mean, you just play.
Yeah.
And kids today are soft.
They are.
They're very soft.
You gotta keep them interested.
All right, Wayne, I appreciate
All right,
you. It's
thank
been
y'all.
great. Thank y'all.
Okay.
Go do a pheasant hunt. God bless y'all. Thank y'all
right.
for listening to us. Have a great, wonderful week. Peace.
Goodbye,
Goodbye.
everybody.
Thank y'all.